Hey guys, this is God of Politics. Welcome to a brand new video, but before we get started this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But in today's video, I am going to be doing my first house prediction for the 2022 elections. Now, of course, house predictions are obviously very difficult to do. There's a lot of individual races. It's much more difficult to predict a race that is in a constituency with 750,000 people versus, a Senate election where you get all these polls, all these other factors to play in. House predictions are much more difficult, but I still do like doing them because there's a lot of interesting races, a lot of races to predict. And I'm just going to get straight into them because there are a lot of races. I can't spend too much time on each one of them because there are a lot of competitive districts, most of them being districts with Democratic incumbents. As you can see here, the consensus map already has Republicans at 217 seats. If you look at various forecasts, we can see Republicans have an 85% chance according to 538. Whereas if you look at the Cook Political Report, we obviously have a lot of toss-ups, but most of these toss-ups are Democratic-held seats, which is something that bodes well for the Republican Party. And I think most people have accepted by now that the Republicans are in a pretty strong position to take the House. As you can see here, in the solid seats, Republicans have an edge by 20. In the battleground seats, you can see Democrats hold much more of them than the Republicans. So Republicans are in a pretty strong position to take the House. The question really is at this point, how many seats are they going to win? Now, some people say, 225. Some people say as many as 250. I think it'll be somewhere in between that, and this number will be, somewhere in between that as well. Of course, many people may disagree about individual ratings, about the overall number, but this is kind of just setting the stage for what these races look like. There's a lot of tilt ratings here because I don't like doing toss-ups, but there are a lot of tilt ratings because there's just a lot that we don't know at this point. There's still some primaries that are to be decided, so there's a lot of things that we need to consider. But getting straight into it, of course, we have Alabama, nothing there. Alaska, I'm just going to put this at safe Republican. We have the special election here. It's not going to be competitive. As for Arizona, I'm putting Arizona's 2nd district at likely Republican. Of course, in terms of margin, I do it. If likely is 5 to 10, lean is 2 to 5, tilt is 0 to 2. Tom O'Halloran's not a bad candidate, but he's just not going to win. I'm going to put Arizona's 1st district also at likely Republican. Arizona's 4th district, I'm going to put it lean Democrat. That seems fair to me. And Arizona's 6th district, I am going to put it lean Republican. I don't think it's likely, but Republicans are still pretty likely to win that district. And we get straight into the next district, which is the one with the most amount of competitive seats by far. That is California. Now, I'm only going to get these really competitive districts. I think California's 9th district is likely. California's 13th district, I'm going to put it actually tilt Republican. I think that this is a sleeper flip for the Republicans. California's 13th district being here in this kind of Central Valley area. I do think that it being an open seat, it being a strong year for Republicans, I think Republicans are going to do well in California. In some places, this district, the 13th district being one of those places. The 22nd district is it's a pure toss-up, but right now I'm going to give a slight edge to David Valadao. I think the strength for the Republicans that they're going to have overall this year is going to propel them to victory. That said, I don't think it's, going to be by a very wide margin, and he could certainly lose. Now, another race that is certainly a toss-up is the 27th district with Mike Garcia formerly in the 25th district. I do think that he is going to hold on, but again, this is going to be very tight. His primary performance was not that strong. I could easily see this race going towards the Democrats, though the Democrats, of course, are running Christy Smith, again, who is not the best candidate. This is the 3rd time she's running against Mike Garcia, but that said, she does have a decent chance to win. Moving on here, Young Kim, she should win easily. Michelle Steele, she should win easily. Katie Porter, I'm going to put it at lead Democratic. She's raised a lot of money, and she's in the district by 12 percentage points, but she is in Orange County. This is her area that used to be more Republican, so I am going to put it lean Democrat. She did underperform, I believe, in 2020 as well, and this is a new district, of course, as well. California's 49th district, I'm also going to put at lean Democrat. So we can move on to the next state here, that is Colorado. Now, Colorado, obviously, the race with the most competitive race is the 8th district, which I am going to put at tilt Republican. Republicans do have a pretty decent candidate here who I do think is going to be able to pull it out. But Colorado is, it's a blue state at this point. But It's not blue to the point that Republicans cannot win districts that Biden only won by 5 percentage points. I don't think most people disagree with that. Connecticut, not much really to see there. I do think Democrats will hold those districts. I think lean Democratic is fair for the 5th district. I think Jahan Hayes will hold on, but it is going to be close. Delaware, of course, that's going to be safe Democratic. As for Florida, we actually don't have too many competitive races. I'm going to put Florida 7th at likely Republican. That seems fair to me. Florida's 13th also. I mean, I would almost put this at safe Republican at this point. I think that probably goes over 10 percentage points. And probably Florida's 27th and 28th district. They probably also go by over 10 percentage points at this point. Democrats really are just not a good party in Florida. Of course, since these, I guess they define safe a little differently. So I'm just going to put these as safe. But the safe margin and, likely safe, very similar at the end of the day for some of these races. If it goes by 9 or 10 or 11 percentage points, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Georgia doesn't really have any of these competitive races, though I am going to put Georgia's 6th district at safe for the Republicans. Hawaii obviously doesn't have anything competitive, neither does Idaho. Illinois is going to be an interesting state, specifically in the 17th district, though the 13th district is going to be competitive as well. The 13th district I am going to leave at lean Democratic. The 11th district, I'm going to put it safe Democratic, though I guess it could get under 10 percentage points a little bit. The 6th district, I'm going to put at likely Democrat. I think that Sean Casten is a pretty good candidate. Lauren Underwood, I think, probably holds on. Likely margin seems fair. Could go down to lean, though. Illinois 17th district, I'm going to put as tilt Republican for now. I think this is the right year for Republicans to win it. It's the right kind of district. Of course, it has a lot of these more urban areas, but the region that it's in, this kind of driftless area, especially to this northwestern area over here, I think is going to help Republicans win that district. Indiana, I do think that Indiana's 1st district is a sleeper flip, but for now, I'm going to put it at lean Democratic. I don't think it's going to flip as of now. Moving on next to the state of Pennsylvania. If we go back up here, actually, we are not down at the state of Pennsylvania yet, but we are at the state of Iowa. Iowa, I do believe, at this point, likely lean seems fair for these races. Iowa, Republicans are probably going to flip a seat there. Kansas, I'm probably going to put Kansas's 3rd district at tilt Republican, though Sharice Davids is the kind of candidate that I could see winning in a wave year. You had a few of those Republican candidates in 2018 that still held on. Sharice Davids, I think, is that kind of candidate, but as of now, I do think she loses by a tilt margin. Louisiana, of course, nothing competitive here. Maine, where we have arguably the most competitive race, we have Jared Golden. I really don't know who to pick. For now, I'm going to pick tilt Republican, but really this is a true toss-up if there is one. That is going to be a tough race. Maryland's 6th district, I am going to put at lean Democratic here. Obviously, the map got struck down. The General Assembly replaced it with a different map, and now we have this map here and making the 6th district more competitive, and I do think that it is going to make him slightly vulnerable, David Trone, but I do think he will win at the end of the day. Massachusetts, all safe. Michigan, where you've got a lot of competitive races. First off with Peter Meyer's district. I don't think it's lean Republican. I'm going to put it tilt Republican, especially given Peter Meyer may lose his primary. As for the 7th district, I'm also going to put this at tilt Republican. Alyssa Slotkin, while she is a good candidate, is not in a very safe district. Dan Kildee, however, I am going to put him at a tilt Democratic margin. He has consistently outperformed the top of the ticket, and while this area is trending towards the Republicans, I do think he will slightly hold on. Michigan's 10th district with John James, I feel like that is fair. And then the 11th district, I'm going to put at safe Democrat. I don't think that will be competitive at all. Minnesota, I think the 1st district, I'm going to probably put that at safe Republican. And then the 2nd district, I'm actually probably going to put this at tilt Republican, I think. I think that Republicans have a good shot of winning this. They do have the chance of having a good year in Minnesota, especially for the Attorney General race, possibly for the State House. Mississippi, nothing safe there. Missouri, or nothing competitive there, I should say. Missouri, nothing competitive there. Montana, I'm just going to put the 1st district at safe. I think that'll go by above 10 percentage points here. Nebraska, I'm going to put the 2nd district, probably it's lean Republican, that's fair, though I actually may move it up to likely. I think Don Bacon is a pretty good candidate. Nevada, it gets really interesting. I do think that Diana Titus does hold on by a tilt margin. I do think that Susie Lee goes down, but I think that Stephen Horsford does hold on by a tilt margin. I could see all three of these flip into the Republicans. I could see all three of them go into the Democrats. I do think that Republicans are poised for a good year in the state of Nevada. I will hopefully make a video about it, but we will see how that plays out as of now. But as of now, I'm going to say 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. New Hampshire, I'm going to put the race with Chris Pappas as a tilt Republican race, and then this race over here as a lean Democratic race. New Jersey, we're most likely going to have to flip in the 7th district. I think a lean margin is fair, maybe even a likely margin at this point. The rest of these all seem pretty fair. Andy Kim is not going to go down. I might actually move that to safe. Josh Gottheimer should be good. Mikey Sherrill also should be good. In New Mexico here, we've got this very competitive 2nd district, which actually for right now I'm going to put as lean Republican. A lot of ratings have this as toss-up, but for now I'm going to say lean Republican. But the rest of those seem fair. Next is the state of New York, where we've got a lot of competitive districts. For the 1st district, I'm going to put this race as lean Republican. Lee Zeldin, he is not running there. The 3rd district I'm going to put as tilt Democratic, though I do see some people saying this could go Republican, and I certainly agree with that sentiment. This race could go Republican. The 11th district, safe Republican. The 17th district, lean Republican, seems fair. The 18th, I'm going to put it tilt Republican. The 19th, I'm going to put it lean Republican. And then the 22nd, I am going to put actually a tilt Republican. I think Republicans are going to have a pretty decent year in New York. Republicans are going to win most of these upstate districts here, and I think that it is going to bode quite well for them. I think they'll do better in the governor's race. I don't think it's going to be competitive or it's going to flip, but I do think that they will do better, and I think that in these 3 upstate races, they will be able to win them. North Carolina is another interesting state here. I do think that the 1st district will stay as a lean Democratic district. All these ratings seem fair, though I think that the 13th district probably does tilt to the Republican candidate here, giving them this district outside of the Raleigh area. North Dakota, obviously nothing there. Ohio's a very interesting state. The 1st district, I'm going to put as tilt Republican. I think that Steve Chabot, he's been around for a long time. He'll probably still win, but it will be a close race. Marcy Kaptur, I do think she loses by tilt margins. She is a good candidate running against not a good Republican candidate, but the district has become much more Republican after redistricting, and I think that is going to hurt her. The 13th district, I'm also going to put at lean Republican. Actually seems fair. That seems fair to me. Oklahoma, nothing competitive there. Oregon is a very interesting state here. I'm actually going to put Kurt Schrader's district, where he lost the primary, at tilt Republican. I think the Republicans have a very good shot here, and I think that at the end of the day, while this race is going to be very narrow, I do think that they do flip it narrowly. Pennsylvania, we've got a couple of interesting races here. Brian Fitzpatrick, he'll win by a safe margin. He's obviously a very good candidate. Chrissy Houlihan probably wins by a likely margin. Susan Wild, I do think, loses by a lean margin. Cartwright, I think, loses by a tilt to lean margin as well. Mike Doyle, that'll be a safe race, even though he's not running. You've got Summer Lee. And then Connor Lamb, I do think that this race is tilt Democratic. I do think Democrats will do pretty decently around the Pittsburgh area in this election, largely due to John Fetterman being from that area. But I do think that this race could go certainly to the Republicans as well. Rhode Island 2nd District, a lot of people are saying it's going to be close. I had it at lean before. I'm moving it to tilt now. I think Republicans have a pretty decent shot there. South Carolina, nothing there. South Dakota, nothing there. Tennessee, nothing there. I'm actually going to move the 5th District to safe Republican. Texas, we've got not much going on here, especially because of the gerrymandering. Texas 15, I'm going to put that at likely at this point, is not going to be competitive. Cuellar, I think, wins by a lean margin, and I think that Vicente Gonzalez also wins by a lean margin. Utah, nothing competitive. Vermont, of course, nothing competitive. Virginia, it's going to be quite interesting. I think Elaine Luria, many people have been saying this is kind of the median district for the whole country, and I think it's going to go lean to the Republicans. I think that's kind of the situation we're in with the national environment, and I do think that Spanberger also will lose. But it's going to be very close. Washington, I've been going back and forth on this 8th district, though. I had it as tilt Democratic before. I'm putting it as tilt Republican now. Jamie Herrera Buehler probably wins by a safe margin at this point, especially with the strength of Republicans this year. West Virginia, nothing there. Wisconsin, I'm going to put the 1st district as, I could put it as safe. I'll leave it as likely for now, though. But the 3rd district I'm also moving to likely there. Ron Kind is obviously retiring. And then the final state being Wyoming. So we're looking at an overall makeup of 240 Republicans, 195 Democrats. If we compare that to the 2020 election, that would be a gain of 27 for the Republicans, which is pretty good for a wave year. That would exceed the gains that they got in the 2014 midterms, which was 13, but it would be less than the number they got in 2010 by a lot when they got 63. But back in 2010, of course, 2/3 of the seats that were flipped were Obama seats. A lot of these are McCain seats, I should say. 2/3 of the seats that flipped were McCain seats. A lot of these seats flipping that they're going to have to flip are going to be Biden seats. And Biden did worse than Obama did in 2008. So 2010 was really a realignment election. It was, the death of the Southern Democrats, the final nail in the coffin, I should say. 2022 is a different election. Republicans could do very well in the national environment. I just don't think they're going to flip, 50 seats. But I do think that 240 seats for them would be a very strong showing, and it would show that they've had a very strong wave here. The Senate election that would go with this would probably be about 53, 54 Republicans, depending on New Hampshire. And a lot of governor flips as well. They'd probably flip Wisconsin. They'd have a good chance of flipping Pennsylvania, flipping probably Kansas, and maybe even flipping a couple few other states. Oregon, maybe sleeper flip. New Mexico, sleeper flip. We will see what happens. Maine, maybe even, but I will update you with my predictions for those races very soon, hopefully. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.